Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. So music today is a mix of backing track and Carl Casey. It's going to be on random. I created a playlist. So it's just a mix. I always end up searching for something. I'll just put it on random here. Since my last stream, I've edited down previous streams, which ended up taking probably about 12 hours. So that is kind of a big commitment, but you know, the bulk of it's over. Now I can just do one per week instead of 3 in 1 week. And that will save some effort. But ideally, I would love to hire someone to be able to edit those streams down into basically what you saw, maybe even better. And also I'll try to improve the production process, present things in a way that is conducive to editing. What do you guys think of those edited live streams? You know, cutting down stuff a lot, cutting down 4 hours into an hour and a half at the most. I think the last one was an hour and 12 minutes. That was the best I could do with that, but that was like 5.5 hours of work on that as well, going by my autosave intervals. That was tough. That didn't leave me with much energy for anything else this week. All right, feast your eyes on reaper.blog/merch. We have a new shirt design. Currently, this is the only product in the store. You can buy this in men's or women's shirts. This, if you can't tell, is a design made by Midjourney. This was a Midjourney prompt created by Jason in the chat there, one of our mods. And I yoinked that design, I yoinked that prompt, twisted it, up-resed it, added my logo. But I think it's a pretty cool kind of retro, maybe Soviet kind of design. It was originally, I think ARP 2600 was the prompt, and it came up with this, which to me feels like this could be a real thing. It's familiar and yet uncanny. It's like these look like the touchpads that you see on a lot of old synths and also in a lot of the new Arturia stuff. These look like sliders, but not quite. Knobs, cables that aren't quite cables. You know, I really like the design. When I saw the design, I thought, this is a shirt. So, started out as Midjourney, ended up as a shirt style. All I really did was like a very small amount of editing to it. Added the frame, added the logo, color correction overall. I think this looks great on a shirt. Men's and women's shirts, a few different color options. We've got various blues and grays. I sell through Threadless. They've got a huge variety of different types of products, from like mugs and bags and stuff. I think this one will work on a lot of other things. If you like this style but don't need a new shirt, maybe suggest something else that this could be put on. This is an example of one of the bags that I had made last year. So this is kind of like a large pencil case, nearly like full-size paper style. Currently, I keep my extra cables for my pedal board in there. But this would be, I think I called this a crap catcher or something like that. Put your patch cables, put your guitar picks, you know, a bag of junk. You stuff it in your backpack or your gig bag, whatever. And that's one of the highest quality products that I've seen from them. And they come in a smaller size as well. So this image on something like that might be really cool. Like I said, mugs, there's pillows. I don't know. I could just put it on everything and it's a crapshoot whether it works or not. I like to kind of curate and just keep the store focused so there's not 1,000 different styles of things. But right now it's like t-shirt or v-necks for men and women. Or I guess it's women's only for v-neck. But I could add a v-neck if you want. I'm wearing previous limited edition shirt. Only a few people got this shirt. There's no new Reaper update this week. Oh, but the SWS video came out. That did really well. Thank you guys so much for watching that, sharing it, and all that. Overall, a pretty quick video to make. I did that on Monday morning and published on Tuesday morning. I feel like I'm a day behind because of all that editing of the live streams. But yeah, that one did well. I'm happy that one did well. Lots of positive comments on that, which I don't tend to respond to, and I should. Okay, if I don't respond to a comment and it's a positive one, it's because it's not a problem I need to solve. But if someone asks a question, I usually try to answer it right away. And I think that's probably the wrong approach. I want you to know that I see every comment, but I don't take compliments well, because it's not something I can improve on. And that's just how my brain is. Valhalla VintageVerb updated to 3.0 new reverb mode Palace. This is actually the 10th anniversary of the plugin. Time flies. Feels like it just came out. If you don't know, Valhalla VintageVerb, it's a really awesome algorithmic reverb, emulating kind of the classic hardware algorithmic reverbs, recreating what those original hardware boxes would be doing. When it came out, it had, I don't know, 6 or so algorithms that were all great sounding and unique and different. And he's just continued to expand on that. Valhalla DSP is still just one guy, Sean Costello, who just goes goblin mode, learning about every possible thing about reverb and the other effects that he creates, and goes all the way through the history, and just so much experience and care and love goes into creating these. Palace Reverb mode is loosely inspired by a digital room simulator hardware reverb from the 1980s. Taken a lot of liberties with the algorithm and added a bunch of things not possible in the original hardware, with higher echo density and lush modulation being some of the highlights. The goal was to retain the open, realistic reverb decay while allowing the user to dial in a more modern reverb sound if desired. Lots of details there. Link in the chat if you want to read about it. Every Valhalla DSP plugin is $50. And to me, they are some of the best purchases I've ever made. Because he was on the podcast, because we're professional acquaintances, I did get a bunch of his for free over the years. But I started out as a customer first. Definitely get the free stuff and check out VintageVerb, Room, Ubermod. I'm using that stuff on everything. Love it. And as he says here, 10 years of updates. Mode, Palace. There are 3 color modes, 1970s, 1980s, and now, which changes the color. There's also a dark and light mode for each of these, or well, for at least the now version. And this is just the different sorts of filtering and kind of saturation applied. So I don't know if there's gonna be that much to say about this. Did I cover VintageVerb in a video before? We've got mix control, we've got decay, damping, shape, diffusion, modulation, EQ, 3 color modes. Jason, you've been following me for a while, but I don't think you've been following me 10 years. If I covered it, it probably would be on audiogeekzine.com or on homerecordingshow.com. All right. The algorithm is described as a room or large spaces simulator, sparse initial echo density, lush balanced modulation. On the color 1970s, it's downsampled to a 10 kilohertz bandwidth, dark, noisier modulation. So that's how that sounds. Pretty nice. Let's bring the decay all the way down. Which still sounds like a... That doesn't sound like 200 milliseconds. So attack is kind of like a fade that can be applied to the reverb to control how much transient comes through. The decay time goes up to 70 seconds. Which is tons, more than enough, right? I'm pretty sure that like the original hardware did not go this long, and like this clean and smooth. And this is on like the lo-fi algorithm. So same, but on the color now, which is how does it described? No downsampling, so full 20 to 20 bandwidth, bright with clean modulation. And 1980s is no downsampling, full bandwidth, dark noise remodulation. Just kind of a different EQ curve. I like it a lot. Yeah, so like if you like the sound of this reverb, consider that there are this many reverbs inside. Like every single algorithm sounds this good, but with a completely different style. These chaotic ones are really great. Dirty Plate is usually my go-to on this. Non-Lin is that AMS RX16 kind of style. Basically that sort of gated reverb kind of thing. Valhalla Room, I'm often going for the Nostromo or the... I forget the other one. It's like Narcissus or something like that. I'll just quickly go through all the other algorithms here. Concert Hall and Bright Hall. Sort of like discrete echoes at the end. I do have diffusion off. I'll go back to default 25. So that one has a lot of modulation on it. Super nice. dirty hall is very cool. Interesting to hear the delay between the pick noise on the mic and the guitar. Yeah, I don't know how to eliminate that entirely. That does bother me sometimes. I could mute my mic as I'm doing this. Is that simply the delay that would be audible in direct monitoring versus monitoring through the CPU? The audio from my mic is delayed so that it syncs with the camera, and then the audio from the DAW is delayed so it matches with the screen capture. And the screen capture and the camera have different delays. Trying to get it all synced up to reduce the amount of editing I have to do, but it's not perfect and it fluctuates. To me, there's no delay. From what I hear at a Reaper, I'm at a 64 sample buffer. So the non-lin is like it ramps up and then cuts off hard. Almost like a reverse. Basically a gated. So I hope you can kind of hear the differences between the different algorithms. At Christmas, I got a new hardware reverb, the Source Audio Ventris, which is nice, pretty cool, great for hardware. I still prefer something like this most of the time. Nope, I got the Ventris. I think Venus Theory has the Ventris. Ben Jordan has one. Do I hear a big difference or much of a difference between this and Soundtoys Little Plate? Little Plate's a lot less tweakable. It's still very nice. It's one I use a lot. It's always nice to have options. So if you got Little Plate, if you managed to get this one for free years ago, to me, this feels a little more narrow and more metallic. Let's load up a plate algorithm here. It's a dirty plate. 3 seconds. Quite a lot of modulation on this, but you can, of course, control that. And then here's Little Plate. And without modulation. Sometimes that metallic sort of sound, like right there, that sounds pretty harsh. compared to... When I'm just in a hurry and I want to add a reverb, little plate is often what I use. And if I'm just jamming a guitar, very often it's just what I put on. Sorry for the tuning issues there. Definitely not bad sounding. If you have this one, enjoy it. But there are a lot of other options. This one is new with this Palace algorithm. That's why we're checking it today. All right, so that's enough of the free promotion for Valhalla DSP. Let's move on to another not free plugin, Choric from Caelum Audio. But this is a advanced chorus plugin. This just came out today. I got to try it early and enjoyed it. And now we're going to talk about it a little bit. That's just kind of like a classic, lush chorus sound. That's synced to the bar, but we can also slow that down to 0.01 hertz. Crank up the depth. I had some things to say about this written down. I plan on making a video, but it might just be the live stream today. This is Choric from Caelum Audio, a powerful new chorus plugin with 32 voices, unique modulation shapes, filters, and pitch shifting. Caelum Audio sent me this plugin to try in advance of the release, and at this time of recording, I don't know the price. It is currently 25% off for a price of about $45. I've made 2 demos of Caelum Audio plugins before, Tape Cassette 2 and Beef. And I will link to those someday. Intro price is 25% off. I'm seeing $44.99 as a price here. Intro offer ends February 10th. So there's up to 32 voices on the chorus. There's a pitch shifter that you can blend in with the original signal, plus or minus an octave, which is pretty cool. Adds a lot of texture. And there's a couple different settings for that. There's a preserve format setting there. So that's just the guitar pitched up, right? But let's add in some looseness. Let's add in some depth here. And then lower the pitch amount. There's 2 sort of like EQ type settings here for dark and warm. So warm adds some, I think it said 3.5 dB of analog saturation, and I do enjoy that. Flip channel will flip the modulation on the left and right channels, so it's going the opposite direction on the right channel. And then there's some mid-side controls in the width control here. So minus 100 is mono, and then you can crank it up to 100% and just sides only, essentially. I would tend to keep it kind of in that like minus 10 to plus 10 range. There's also this preserve performance option. Along with that stuff, there is also low pass, high pass, band pass, and high pass filters. If I'm using this, most likely I'm going for the high pass, and I would set that to something like 75. And that's just preventing that chorusing to happen on the low frequencies. That's where I would most likely use it, especially on a bass. Classic chorus. So this is a very deep sine wave type chorus. Then we've got a triangle wave. And you can see the waveform update. If you right click in here, there's 2 FPS, 30 FPS, 60 FPS options, or turn the display off entirely. This plugin does have a fair amount of latency, 704 samples I'm seeing here. Because it's blended in parallel, I don't really notice that. If you use the looseness control, that's sort of delaying the voices. Use that if you want sort of a double tracking effect. Then there is like a sawtooth, which is something you don't often see, but this can be cool at higher rates. Let's sync that to the tempo and put that at quarter note. And then there's the ramp shape. And there's also a random mode. Random's probably my favorite out of all of the shapes. Looseness is basically a delay. All right, so we got a question from David Tarbill. I don't know if you're still here, David. I want to take song regions of a live Reaper recording, copy them to a new project files. I found a cool menu item to do that, then lost it. Any hints? I believe that's going to be in the region playlist. Hit this edit project button, and then there's crop project to playlist, new project tab. And there we go. So there's just that section of the song as a new project with all tracks. So original project and just that selected region. I think that might be what you were looking for, but that was region playlist from SWS, making a playlist, then add your regions to the playlist, and then crop project to playlist. And if you have multiple regions and you want them each to go to another playlist, you do need to make another playlist. You can also just add in one region at a time. I don't think there's a great bulk way to do that. That's essentially what I would do. To do it manually, you would like select the area of the region, crop project to selection, file, save as. But again, that's not really a bulk thing you can do. After you do the save as, you could go back to the original project or just hit undo a couple times. You should get back to the original project essentially. And again, crop to the next region and save as. Looking for a nice and free bass amp simulator just to warm up the sound a bit. Any suggestion? Pretty much any of the major guitar plugin companies will have a free version of it. So Amplitude 5, there should be some bass stuff in there. Don't be afraid of using guitar amps on bass. Often it's just kind of the cabinet modeling that you need to pay attention to really make sure that it sounds like a bass in the end. So there's Amplitude 5, kind of my go-to for any guitar stuff. Guitar Rig, Bias Effects, pretty much all of them are going to have like a stripped down free version that should have a few models of guitar amps and bass amps, plus cabinets, mics, stuff like that. So pick one and see how it goes. Ignite Studios TP1A and Cab Impulses TPA1. I don't know that one. This is just like the power amp section. So you're missing the preamp section. If you get something that models a Sansamps, that would be one option. I just had something open the other day, but I didn't download it. There's a free plugin I saw a video of, the Growler. Comes from the company August Rose, augustrose.studio. Plugin's called the Growler. This is free. It's a pretty like grindy distortion kind of thing, but it sounds cool. It can do like punk and metal bass stuff, and I'm sure you could dial it back, even use like a mix control to reduce how much of that you're getting. That's the newest one that I know of, worth checking out. I was gonna get it. TPA1 is not really gonna have any sort of saturation unless you're like really pushing the volume and then attenuate it in another stage. This output control here is probably just a clean gain. So the volume control on the front, that's going to be your like tube saturation. So that, along with the input control, is kind of like your power amp distortion. And then this output section is going to be the kind of final volume before you go into your impulse response. I've never used that one, but I'm pretty sure that's how that's going to work. BOD, I didn't like the BOD that much. Compared to my real Sansamps, I didn't like it that much. And I don't know why, but rat pedal distortions never feel right to me. The Sansamps plugin adds too much distortion for use. Yeah. Oh, what was that one that we did a video? I say we, but you guys weren't really involved. But I did a video mixing with Sansamps distortions, soft amp PSA. This one is like the rack mount PSA 1. If I remember correctly, it's not like it's not entirely straightforward to use because it's like a multi-band distortion, and some of the controls kind of interact with each other. I've got this one, which I hardly ever use anymore. I would not say it's worth $250. It can save 3 settings. You'll probably only find one that's acceptable. I've never tried the actual one of these. I assumed that the programmable one was basically 3 of these. I don't think it is, because this is like the same price. And I've never tried things like the VT bass, but I've definitely been tempted. I use the MXR Bass DI Plus a ton. This one's great. You get a lot of different tones out of this. I think it sounds pretty cool on like drum machines and stuff too. And it's good to have a lot of different options for bass distortions and guitar distortions, because every bass is going to kind of sound a bit different through it. I've got a Rat, I've got a TS7 Tube Screamer, I've got the Bass DI Plus, got the HM2, I've got a black Russian Big Muff, I've got the Programmable Bass Driver DI. You can see how much dust is on these ones that I never use. I guess that's it. I got rid of some. In the past, I've had the Boss Bass Distortion. I ended up selling that, but I probably should have kept it, because you never know, like when the go-to thing doesn't work, you need some other options. So the other thing I had on my list was some ChatGPT stuff. Let's try to use ChatGPT to create a script that selects every other item within the time selection. I think that's something that would be possible. ChatGPT is a OpenAI public preview, and it can do some pretty interesting things with scripting. Whoever created this has loaded in at least some information about how to script in Reaper. Frequently gets things wrong, but it can often explain how something works really well. If something breaks, it tends to know how to fix it in a way, or you can provide some information for fixing it. The rules here is be polite to the AI. Please write for me a Reaper script to select every other item within the time selection on the selected track. It's usually faster than this. It usually starts typing immediately. All right, we'll try again. Refresh. Maybe I wasn't actually logged in properly. Please write a Reaper script to select every other item on the track within time selection. X-Frame was saying that he can tell that some of his scripts were used to train just by the formatting of the results. This script will iterate through each track in the project, and for each track, it will iterate through every other item on the track. If the item is within the current time selection, it will be selected. There's a copy button. Okay, I'm going to assume that it's a Lua script. It tends to write Lua scripts. So we're going to go to Actions, New Action, New ReaScript, AI, select every other item on selected track in select time selection. Paste, save. Okay, we can close that. And then there's our selection. So if I make a time selection and track selection, hit run, nothing happened. Okay, so yeah, the funny thing is it just doesn't do anything. Sometimes it just doesn't do anything. My first experience with ChatGPT for a Reaper script did work, and then my very first one worked perfectly, and I was able to modify that to do exactly what I wanted, and it would have been a complicated thing to do from scratch. And then since then, it's been very hit or miss. Sometimes this stuff works and sometimes it doesn't. Oh, that time it worked. So if I have all the items selected, let's try a different way. Create a Reaper script to modify selection of items to be every other. Let's try that. Let's just try a different approach to it. Rather than, because it seems to want to select all the items or like get all the items, but I don't want that. I just want it to already be limited to what's there. I've done things like what are the 10 most common issues for Reaper users? And it gave me a pretty convincing list of topics, while still kind of generic to just music production issues. But it's still a list that I didn't have to think up myself, which is cool. I tried to get it to make a Firefox extension and modify CSS and stuff like that. And I didn't end up with the results I was looking for, but it explained things well to me. I didn't end up solving my problem. Okay, so let's see. It's a new code. We're going to replace what was there before. There's no issue there. So if I start with these items selected and run, that works. That's a useful script. There's plenty of times when, let's just make a long item. Nope, wrong button. We got a long item here. That's still the wrong button. Why is it? Because I was right drag. Okay, so I've got a long item here. Let's say we split on grid. Split items at timeline grid. So now there's item properties. There are 32 items selected. If I run this script, now there should be 16 items. 20 items. It's selecting outside of my original time selection. All right, so let's modify this. Unfortunately, this script seems to go outside of the original time selection bounds and selects other items. Please fix. This script will first unselect all items on all tracks, then iterate through each track in the project. And for each track, it will iterate through every other track item on the track. Before selecting the item, it will check if the item is within the current time selection. If it is, the script will select the item. Please make sure the script only works on the original selected track. Once we get through these iterations, I think this is still going to be faster than looking up any of the functions in the API. This script will first get the start and end time of the current time selection. Then it will iterate through each track in the project and check if the track is selected. If the track is selected, the script will then iterate through every other item on the track before selecting the item. It will check if the item is within the current time selection. If it is, the script will select the item. This way, the script only works with the original selected tracks and not any other unselected tracks. It seems like it shouldn't need to iterate through every track in the project, because that's quite slow if there's hundreds of tracks. I think a human would program this differently, but we're not here to test that. Huh. I don't know. Almost works. What do you think, guys? Is this working correctly? I don't think it is. So if I have no items selected and run this, nothing happens. If I have one item selected, nothing happens. If I have all the items selected, nothing happens. If I have some items selected, if I have my cursor here, that works. ChatGPT tries to do ReaScripts. It knows a decent amount, but gets some things confused. It will create functions that don't exist, like API functions that don't exist. It will mix up like EEL and Lua. And with EEL, it doesn't know video processor compared to FX. But some things have worked perfectly. This particular one, I'm trying to select every other item, which has been done in scripts before. I don't know why it's not working. I don't know if my prompt is wrong. All right, so let's just say this doesn't seem to be working correctly. Can you try again, please? Let's just try that. You have to like that there's so much like documentation of how the script works as it's going through here. Or wait, what? Is this close enough? It almost works. Okay, this time it works fine. I don't know. This is close to working. We're gonna call it done. Writer's Reaper script to apply a 10 millisecond fade to every selected item. Got an update from ChatGPT. It says it's using this function Reaper BR set item edges. Is that a real function? Is my question. Yeah, that's a SWS function, which is fine. I was just curious if that's gonna work or not. So let's make a new script. 10 millisecond fade items. That seemed to trim the items. Unfortunately, this is trimming the length to 10 milliseconds. Let's see what it says. Honestly, if there's 20 people watching or 10 people watching or 1,000 people watching, it shouldn't make much difference to me. That's not why I'm doing it. And a lot of people end up watching the stream after, just because it works better with their schedule. And I also do edited versions of it, so it's possible that people will wait until that edited video is out. So start off with fades of 0, and then run. That looks right. I don't know if that's right. Okay, so I'm starting off with them already overlapped because of reasons. Yeah. Okay, so this one worked. I really appreciate that you like the streams. There's so much to choose from on the internet, and it's just amazing that you would choose this over, I don't know, an action film, cartoons, porn, anything. I try to make myself available for the community. Maybe that doesn't, result in a full-time income like you might expect. There's no immediate payoff for me, really. When someone is thinking of how to get help about Reaper, they have a question, they're looking to buy a course, looking for private lessons, hopefully I'm who they think of, because I've been here in the community helping for 12 years, something like that. We're doing 50 streams this year. That's the plan. It's awesome if you can show up. It's no big deal if you can't, because I can't always watch my friends' streams either. Okay, so we got 2 ChatGPT scripts that worked. Can we pick a third task that can kind of work? Let's just verify that with another item. So there's no fades on this item. Run that. That's got a fade at the start and at the end. Okay, I just thought of something. Is there an action to scroll to the end of the selected item? Please write a Reaper script to scroll to the end of the selected items. Amazing that ChatGPT even knows Reaper scripting. Yeah, I mean, I wonder who on the team there is looking for that stuff. Maybe it just scrapes everything from GitHub. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Isotope is using AI stuff for resynthesis, for like Adobe is for cleaning up dialogue and stuff. They've got some like mobile app. Basically resynthesizes your voice to remove the noise. Kind of weird. Scroll view to end of items. I think there's things like dbird. Who makes that? dbird. Think this is an AI tool? Yeah, it says deep learning. So all the big companies are already on this, way ahead of us. But stuff like this, becoming more accessible. Who wants to remove birds? Dialogue editors. I mean, I think you can remove the birds and have only the birds. There might be an option just to invert it. Did everyone on the West Coast go on lunch break and open up ChatGPT at the same time? Is it possible to turn off the Save Effects chain prompt when you hit Command S in the plugin window? You can try this. So you've got your Command S shortcut, then set it to global scope. Yeah, see there, I saved project. I'll put an effects in there. Command S. Prompts to save project instead of saving the effect chain. No, you can't turn off the function, but you can overwrite it by making sure that this is set to a global shortcut. I guess we're done with that thing for now. What are my thoughts on Synthesizer V by Dreamtronics? Tonics. Haven't heard of it. In general, I don't like AI voice tech. I'm just kind of against it. And like the anime voice singer things, not my thing at all. If I worked on games or animation or something like that, I can see that tech being useful. In a musical context, I don't like that sort of sound. But AI voice stuff, I've experimented with very slightly with Descript. I tried training, just a basic training thing with this, and it was pretty cool that I could basically write something and then hear it back in basically my actual voice. That's pretty cool. I didn't try the editing functions or anything in this. It kind of gets expensive after a while, and I don't dislike editing the slow way in Reaper. $12 per month, billed annually. You can transcribe 10 hours per month. I would be close to hitting that, I think. Has filler word removal. overdub 1,000 words. It's cool. I had looked at it maybe a year ago, maybe not quite a year ago. Impressive then. And it's only going to get better. I don't want these things to take jobs away from audiobook voice actors. If you're a creator and you want a day off, or you need to do an overdub but you're sick when you have to do the overdub, having a backup of your voice and being able to just type in what you want to say and move on to the next job or get back to bed, it's amazing. What would be the first thing you would download to supplement a fresh install? I've been using Reaper for years and couldn't do without SWS these days. Yeah, SWS, Repack, VLC, Media Player, especially if you do anything with video, you need VLC. Then the plugin bundles, like the Kilohertz bundle, I'd probably get. Kilohearts, I always say it wrong. There's these 30 little plugins that cover a lot of ground. If you like the UI, if you like how they work, then you can get a lot done with that. The distortion's good, the bit crusher's good, chorus. You know, just having multiple options aside from the stock plugins is really good. This one's just top of mind because I was looking at an article at Music Radar today about kind of their favorites. It's all good stuff. I've done a video about Kilohearts. Maybe it was a stream. It must have been a stream and it never ended up on the website. What's the quickest way to get an answer to a Reaper question? Be on the stream. That helps. Official forum, Facebook groups, the Discord. I'm on live stream at this time every Friday. Favorite vocal chain plugins, like an alternative to the Wave CLA vocals, either in Reaper or paid. I like the IK Multimedia T-Rex stuff. On a vocal, I'm most likely to put on White 2A and Black 76. These are M1 compatible now, so for a moment I was saying look elsewhere, but they're updated, so they're good again. I might do like Black 76 first to catch the peaks, White 2A for slightly more gentle compression, getting to the sustained stuff squished. I don't know, that plus re-EQ, going into some reverb, whatever style you feel like on the day. Well, I should say, like, when I'm doing a mix, often I'll have several reverbs set up, and it's just a blend of maybe 3 different reverbs, short, medium, and long sort of things. You might need a gate, you might need a de-esser. Toucan de-esser is good. Someone was asking about first things to install. I forget who that was. MK Quinn. The Toucan bundle of effects would be another good thing to get. Do you play video games, John? It's Jon, by the way. Yes, I do play video games. Recently, I've been playing a lot of Grounded. If you mix The Forest, which is a survival crafting sort of horror game, with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you're a kid that has been kidnapped by a corporation, shrunk, and put into a scientist's backyard, and you have to survive and then grow normal size again while fighting Black Widow spiders and mosquitoes. It's a hell of a lot of fun, and it's a lot more difficult than it looks. It looks like a kid's game, but it's a fairly serious game, I guess. I also got God of War Ragnarok recently. I haven't started playing that on PS5. I was playing Wolfenstein 2 most recently. I just bought Wolfenstein Youngblood, but I haven't started that one yet. I watched an entire playthrough of Ragnarok. When that game came out, I watched every video from Jacksepticeye because he just loves that series so much, and you can tell when you watch him. I just wanted to experience the story that way. I didn't actually intend to buy it. What do you think about UHEAP plugins? I like some of them. I've mostly used the free plugins. I don't really have any opinion on the effect plugins, but I know some sound designers that love them. I just haven't really found a use for them. Pretty much all plugins are good these days. I can't really find any complaints, just no time to learn them all. Diva is cool. Yeah. That's one of the ones that I hear the most about. But yeah, I've never experienced it. So many synths, not enough time. Have you tried Arturia FX 3? I've tried some of the Arturia FX. These are what I have. The Juno Chorus, the 1176, the Space Echo, Filter Mini. That's like the Mini Moog filter, is it? Yeah, that's like a Moog filter. The MS-20. Hey, I did a video about that. I forgot about that. It was the first video of the year, I think, wasn't it? Bitron Phaser. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure we went through all of these on stream sometime last year. I've liked most of what I've played with. The Space Echo was one that I was slightly disappointed by. Actually, no, it was better than the other one. The other one I have. Audio Things, Space Echo. What's in the V3 bundle? It's just everything. We were talking about Sansamps earlier today. I haven't tried this one. Okay, so and it's $3.99. So they're going after the Soundtoys bundle kind of customers. A lot of people have already had the full Soundtoys bundle for like 5 years and haven't got anything new. From what I've played with here, like the EQs, the reverb, the delay, the filter mini, the filter, the MS-21, they're all good. Really no complaints about it. So if it's $3.99, what would that be if it was separate guitar pedals? Would you pay like $10 a piece for the plugins? Makes it seem like a pretty good deal. I don't think I've ever seen this. Jason has pretty much everything. If you're asking about plugins, Jason has like everything from Arturia, everything from Kilohearts, everything from UVI. I've had so many different like distortion, especially like multiband distortion plugins that I will buy, use for a little while, and then forget about. Ohmforce, you remember that? This was a good plugin, and I just stopped using it for some reason. This is a pretty old plugin as well. I got more use out of this one than Ohmforce. I respect this company quite a lot for bringing weird effects to the world way before anyone else. 2006 for sure, I was buying this stuff. And then, you know, upgraded computers like 6 times since then. Feels like a good spot to end for today. I just want to cut down on the editing time a little bit until I can afford an editor. So consider being a YouTube channel member to support this. And ideally, if I've got enough people supporting that way, then I can hire an editor and take a lot less stress off of the production of the live streams, and we can just have more fun during the live streams. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you later. Bye.